Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Organic Podcast. I'm your host, Reagan. Today, we're going to be talking about bridging the gap between logic and intuition when it comes to astrology. Now, stick with me here if you're someone who immediately just thought, this is not for me. I don't do astrology. I don't do woo-woo shit. I don't mess with the zodiac signs and the horoscopes. Those people are not in my realm. If you're someone who thinks that astrology and leaning more into the energies that seem a bit more woo-woo are completely irrelevant to you, let me just say, I am someone who thinks very logically. I'm very logic-minded. I'm an engineer. I have an astrophysics minor. I very much so am familiar with the logical thinking patterns and science and facts and anything that's pretty much seems like it's on the opposite end of the spectrum from astrology and the stars and nature and our deeper connection to the divine, pretty much the woo. And I'm someone who is familiar with both sides. And I can attest to the fact that I have truly felt more peace, more comfort, more fulfillment, more alignment. I've gotten so much guidance from leaning into the deeper energies when it comes to astrology and personal things like life path numbers, human design, the personal like astrological spiritual makeup of me. It has given me a lot of clarity for who I actually came here to be, my ideal path, what works for me, what doesn't, ways that I can flow with my energy rather than resisting by forcing myself to follow structures, systems, patterns, habits, designs that aren't actually meant for me. All of that has been so beneficial for me as someone who came from very logical background, very STEM-minded thinking, someone who was very much engineer vibes. And if I have bridged the gap and my life has gotten better for it, then I know that other people can too. This is really valuable information, and I think that the way that it's construed to the general public, or the way that a lot of people think about astrology or anything related to numerology or personal spiritual information, is they think of it as something that's just a write-off. It's just a daily horoscope. If you are someone who follows a daily horoscope and thinks that your life's going to change because, oh my God, I'm a Gemini or whatever it is, then you automatically assume these people who take it to the extremes and take things out of context and make astrology a religion are like the norm, when in reality, it can be used as a tool to better understand yourself and enhance your life when you see it with nuance and context, and don't use it as a rule book, but instead use it as a guide and something to explore deeper should you be called to it. That is the goal of this episode, is to kind of deep dive into that, give you guys my specific takes on how my logical brain thinks about astrology, thinks about our place in the universe and nature, and our just deeper connection to the energies at play all around us, whether it's on Earth, whether it's in the stars, whether it's just in our deeper souls, or even just across the universe, across the galaxies. And I hope that it can help widen your perspective for the sake of you living a better, happier life. Or if you're just curious about astrology and want to hear me yap about it, this episode's for you too, because I honestly find it to be fascinating. I see it as like a hobby kind of vibes almost, where like I find a lot of interest looking into it. I love looking up like my friends' human designs and just all that stuff. It's something that I enjoy a lot. So I hope this episode gives you some value, gives you some insight, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Organic Podcast. I'm your host, Reagan, mechanical engineer, lifelong athlete, and recovered overachiever, here to empower you to pursue your highest potential and live freely as your happiest, most organic self. Every week, we'll dive into topics ranging from personal growth, mindset hacks, psychology, and a blend of science and spirituality to give you all the tools you need to stop living on autopilot and start creating a life of freedom, meaning, and fulfillment as your most organic self. If you're ready to become the best version of yourself, then let's plant those seeds and grow. Alright, you guys. In a cruel twist of irony, clearly you can tell right now I sound different than I did about 30 seconds ago in the intro. That would be because I recorded the intro last night and more, but I said I could say it better, so I'm doing more tomorrow. And overnight, developed a rapid onset cold and woke up with lovely congestion. So forgive the voice because I quite literally can do absolutely nothing about it. So we're going to keep plugging and chugging through because this topic is so important to me. It has helped me so much, and I love it. I really, really love it. I think that, honestly, deep diving people's astrologies or life path numbers or human design, kind of just translating the language of the universe for other people, I feel like that is honestly something I feel so called to. So maybe it'll turn into a bigger picture of my impact. I don't know. Check in with me in about 6 months to a year. We'll see. But to get started, for the people who believe that astrology is bullshit, let me just start with what astrology is. By definition, it is, the observational study of how celestial bodies, planets, constellations, etc. influence human collectives over the past 4 millennia, literally 4,000 years. Humans have been studying nature and the stars and the planets and their impacts on collectives just through observation for so long. That is not something that I feel like it can just be brushed over as, oh, that's old wives' tale, that's just folklore, it doesn't mean anything. How is it that this study, God forbid I call it a science, but it is a science in its own form, how is it that we can say it means nothing, or anyone can say that this study means nothing just because, oh, you're talking about zodiac signs and woo-woo things and whatever? Like, I do not believe that at all. I don't. Because first and foremost, I don't care how smart we are. I don't care if we become integrated with fucking robots. We are, well, maybe I do care about that, but we are part of nature. Just because we're intelligent and very developed as a society does not mean that we get to escape the fact that we are very much so biological beings as part of nature, influenced by nature and the energies around us. That is something that is a fact. That is a fact. And the only reason why we've gotten so disconnected from it is because of how developed our world is now and how distracted we all are, how disconnected we are from ourselves, from nature, from the universe, from God, from whatever you want to say. We are disconnected. We are more isolated than ever, and it is not good for us. That's a whole other story. But in being so isolated, we have lost this deeper connection to the universe, to nature, to just Earth, to being part of the cyclical nature of this planet as beings who are no different than any other species, minus the fact that there's like a bajillion of us, and we think we're the shit because we're smart and have developed all of these things. But at the core of it, I don't care what you believe, you don't get to escape the influence that energies of the world have on us as part of nature. That is just a fact. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to go with it. You don't have to do moon rituals to know or feel certain changes in your life coming up, collective themes happening. Like, we are all deeply connected to part of nature, to each other, to our, like, we are all meant to be connected, and we are all just one. We are all creative beings that come from one creative source energy. Whether you believe that to be God, whether you believe it to be whatever a certain religion says, etc., that is the truth, as I see it. And I'm not here to convince anyone to change any beliefs or whatever. As I've said in other episodes, I have been raised religious. I am still a Christian, but I understand the wider scope of generally speaking, we are all part of the same thing. Like, yes, we have a lot of differences. We're all part of the same. And because of that, we are equally as influenced by the energies around us. So, astrology is a general study of how these external energies, planets, constellations, whatever, impact us. I truly do believe that it definitely serves a place in the modern world because it is an ancient study built on storytelling, built on observations. So to write it off as something that's just crazy because some 12-year-old thinks they're going to have a crazy bad day because they see like a daily horoscope made by an AI generated Instagram account, I feel like we could have some better nuance and context here. You know what I mean? Yes, there are people that take it really far and say things that are like so out of whack or just so use astrology and their birth chart placements and things like that as like a guide rule book for their life. Yes, there are people like that, but where you get value from astrology, from looking into things like your natal chart, your human design, your life path number,
is when you use that as a guide, not as a rule book, as a guide and as a tool for you to understand how to best utilize your energy, how your soul desires to be seen, to show up. Basically, the path of least resistance for you to be living the most happiest, healthiest, fulfilling life that you possibly can. Your soul leaves you a blueprint. That is what I see astrology, human design, anything related to numerology, personal, spiritual information, if you want to call it that. That is how I see it. It is a blueprint. We are souls having a human experience. We inherently are often disconnected from remembering that. If us and our little tiny human brains cannot even possibly comprehend even the size of the universe and multiverses around us, who are we to think that there's not something beyond our conscious realm of understanding that exists and has influence over us? We don't get to just opt out of being affected by energies of the universe. Like, who are we to know from our limited scope whether or not planets, stars, constellations do or do not have an impact on us when there's so much beyond the stretch of what our imaginations can even hold that we can't even fathom basic things like the size of our universe. And with that comes the understanding that your soul is very intentional about leaving you a blueprint for yourself to remember, because as a human experiencing life right now, your soul is not like necessarily leading the charge all the time. You're kind of just going through life until you remember and come back into awareness of the fact that, like, oh shit, not only am I just like another standard average human being on this planet, I came here with a bigger purpose, with a bigger intention, like with a very conscious, intentional reason for being here, especially right now at this time. And your soul's best way of communicating that to you is by the fact that you were born on a very specific day, at a very specific time, in a very specific location. None of these factors are random, and your birth information is the basis for pretty much all of your personalized spiritual information, whether it's your birth chart, whether it's your human design, life path numbers, other numbers related to your birthday. It all stems from that specific day and time. And if it could be different even by a few minutes, that could truly impact the energies in your chart, how different things play out. Like, it is so finely tuned. Your soul is so finely tuned to leave behind the exact blueprint that it wanted, that you chose, that you want for yourself, to be able to look at and reference and understand in this lifetime. This is how I best use my energy. This is how I best show up. This is how I will feel most fulfilled in my relationships, in my career, and how I see myself and how I show up to the world. All of this information is read through the lens and the language of the different energies of the planets in our solar system and the constellations of zodiac signs, which have been assigned their different energy archetypes by this observational data that has been accumulated across so many different civilizations for the past 4,000 years of human existence. It is rooted in storytelling. It is rooted in our truth, the truth of of nature and us being a part of this universe. So it's all connected. It's all connected. And looking more deeply into these parts of your personality, your identity, and any other indicators that you can get from your birth information based on the ties to your astrology that comes with it can be so helpful and impactful for giving you permission to live life in the way that you came here to live it as, in the way that's best aligned for you, not based on what society tells you, what other people tell you, what you think you have to do, whatever. All of those shoulds and things that you think you have to be living by, those are all external and they come from sources outside of you. The quickest way to understand the truth that your soul wants you to know and understand in living this life for the sake of your highest good and highest fulfillment is to look deeper into the blueprint that your soul has left you based on your astrological data, which is determined by your birthday, happens very, very intentionally and specifically. I think we are getting the bigger picture now. So astrology, looking at your natal chart, looking at your human design, looking into your life path number, it can be so empowering and eye-opening and has been here waiting for you to deep dive it so you can have more clarity on the best way for you to be living your life since literally the minute you were born. If that doesn't make you want to look up your natal chart, your human design, your life path number, whatever other spiritual information, I don't know what will. I really don't. So let's dive a little deeper into each of these three topics. Your natal chart, to start off. This can seem really overwhelming for some people because I don't think that most people understand how much depth there is to astrology when it comes to your birth chart. Because you think, oh, I know my sun sign, like I'm a Gemini, so I know all of these different energies and how Geminis show up in the world and how they're talkative and outgoing and whatever. Like, yeah, that's just me. That's all I need to know. Oh, honey, if you look up your birth chart, you will see your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, where each planet is placed in your different houses. Your houses are essentially the different areas of your life. So the planets being placed there and which planets are in which constellations and how the signs show up in your chart and what energies they're conjunct with and how, oh, my Cancer is conjunct with Jupiter or my Jupiter's in Cancer, my ascendant is whatever. Like, there is so much depth and detail that you would have no idea exists if you don't look and peel back the layers of what information you actually can get from your birth chart and looking into your personal astrology from it. It can seem very, very, very overwhelming. And I personally really enjoy looking into this stuff. I really find it fascinating. I think it's really accurate, especially given the depth at which it is construed based on your birth information and the placements and everything. Like, it's so specific and it's so down to like the fine details that I find value in looking into it. But if you don't feel called to do more of that deep dive, big thing for you to focus on when you look up your natal chart is the big three. These are your main three signs. They're kind of the core tenets to you as a person, your personality, etc. And that is your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. Your rising sign is what shows up in your first house placement. So if you're looking online, I can put a link in the description too for where I usually get my natal chart when I look it up. I like this one because you don't have to put your email. I hate when they have you put your email. Like, do not. Stop. Am I exploiting them by using it for free? Maybe, but don't ask me for my email. I don't want it. But you look up your ascendant by looking at your houses. You will see it will be like, oh, house 1, Cancer. That's your ascendant. So your sun sign, from what I understand, is your core personality. It's like who you came here to be, how you came to show up in the world, your purpose, more of like your own individual identity, like very much so like you focused on the doing and what you came here to do and be and represent and learn. Your moon sign is a reflection of your internal state and your emotions, and your rising sign is how you are seen by the world, the first impression you make on other people, kind of just how others see you, whereas your sun sign is like how you truly are and how you see yourself. So those big three can shed a lot of light on the kind of core energies at play in your chart. And if you feel called to go deeper, as I said before, you can look into each of the houses. You can see, oh, house 3. This house is the house of communication. It's ruled by Gemini. Or like, I have my house 6 is Libra, whatever the heck it may be. Honestly, it can get confusing because there's so many different energies at play, and reading your birth chart is essentially understanding how they're all speaking to each other, like the planets and the constellations and the zodiac signs. Those are the same things. If you want to understand like the, not like scientific, but you could see the zodiac constellations in our night sky, like year round. You will see the ones you'll actually be able to see in the night sky are usually 4 to 6 months away from actually being in the season of that zodiac sign. Because I don't know if this seems obvious, I'm someone who's loved space my whole life, but like when it clicked for me and when I realized this, I was like, holy shit, that's weird. Like that's obvious, but it's weird. Your sun sign is literally just what constellation was behind the sun at the time you were born. That's literally it. Like right now, Libra season. If you look on a night sky app, you will see that the sun and Libra are aligned. And as I said, it might seem obvious because, duh, that's how these signs are determined. Your natal chart is essentially a map of the sky at your birth and figuring out which planet is in which constellation and zodiac sign, and then understanding and decoding all of the energies at play and all the meanings behind it. So it makes sense. Yeah, the sun is in Libra right now. So if I was born right now, I would be a Libra sun. Same thing goes for the moon. Like my time of birth, the moon was in Libra. So that is what my moon sign is. There is a lot more information and nuance that you can find by deep diving it. If you go to the link in the show notes to look up your natal chart with the one that I use, it goes really in depth on each thing. And I remember the first time reading my chart, like really, really reading it, I was like, holy shit, this is accurate as hell. This is really accurate, and it's kind of scary, and that makes a lot of sense. But as I said, is basically learning another language. So if you feel called to learn more about it, I encourage you to do so. I really enjoy doing that. If you want to just kind of get a better general gist of the energies that play in your natal chart, but not really deep dive, focus on the big three: your sun, your moon, your ascendant, and go have fun just trying to decode the language of the universe that is your natal chart. But that one's probably the most robust and in-depth that you can look into. But it, again, shows so much detail, and looking also into the houses. And I forget if it's the planets or the signs that are assigned to the houses. I think it's both. I don't know. See, I have been looking into this stuff for a while. I still don't even understand all the nuances. But if you look at what things are in which houses, that's also very useful information that is really interesting to learn about and can be eye-opening. So, number 1, natal chart. Number 2 is your human design. This is something that's not really talked about as much. I think the first time I heard about it, I'm pretty sure it's from Monica, because she was talking about how she's a generator and she just always wants to be doing things. And I was like, what the fuck is she talking about with human design? What is that? So I looked mine up, and my human design honestly shocked me. But before I get into it, human design is essentially your energetic blueprint. It's how your soul wants you to best utilize your energy in this lifetime. So my energy type is a projector. There are 5 types. There are generators, manifesting generators, manifestors, projectors, and reflectors. I think generators and manifesting generators make up the majority of the population. Projectors, I think, are 20% or something like that. Manifestors are a smaller percentage, and reflectors are like really rare. But the essential differences between these 5 energy types is 2 of them, generators and manifesting generators, have what's called their sacral center defined. Your sacral center is an energy center in your body. This might sound a little more woo, so just stay with me here. And when you have your sacral center defined, the idea is that you are more directly tied to an output of life force energy, of creative energy, of the ability to be productive and always doing and on and just constantly wanting to create more and more. You can pull from that kind of well of energy much more easily. So manifesting generators and generators find constant productivity a lot easier, comes a lot more naturally to them, and they are most fulfilled, or like a sign that they are living most aligned to their energy type is satisfaction. So they just enjoy the doing and being satisfied by the doing and what they create. Now, the other 3 types, manifestors, projectors, and reflectors, do not have their sacral energy center defined. So we do not have this well of infinite energy to be pulling from all the time. And I say that I was surprised by my energy type being a projector, because I was like, I have been doing my whole life. I have based my identity on doing, on being productive for so much of my life. What do you mean my energy type is the one that needs the most rest, or like one of the ones that needs the most rest? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? My design is to be invited to things. Like, what are you on? It did not fit the mold that I had been living for so long. But this is why human design can be so helpful, because it can shine a light on your truth in a way that you would not have seen otherwise. Because, as I said, I have lived so long being productive all the time, doing, like, constantly pulling from always feeling like I needed to be doing more, but that wasn't truly who I was. And I have learned through deconditioning, through coming back to myself, through actually understanding and listening to my intuition a lot more clearly. I know that that's not actually how I'm meant to show up in the world. It doesn't feel good. Like, I'm not someone who just has an infinite supply of energy to constantly be outputting, but I'm so used to that this is a process I'm actively going through, is learning how to rest, to not always feel like I need to be productive, to redefine my worth around just existing rather than doing. But as we know, the society that we live in is so focused on constantly doing and being and going and hustling, not being, just doing, going, and hustling, that it's hard to just be and to exist. And especially for me, like, part of my struggle that I'm trying to decondition from is thinking that there is one right way to be living life. Like, it's either you can be productive all the time, or you're just lazy, like, or you just don't have discipline. When in reality, projectors, like my energy type, it's the idea is that we are so productive when we are working, and by honoring the periods of rest to like recharge, we actually work a lot better when we do work. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But even me, even my ego, when I heard that for the first time, I was like, that's a really easy way to just say that you have an excuse for just being lazy and whatever. But that just goes to show how deeply ingrained our society has conditioned us to always need to be doing something and being productive. Not always the case. So if you're a projector, I hope you feel seen hearing this, because it's been a long, long journey for me unlearning it. But that's the power of looking into your human design, is you can kind of more deeply resonate with your truth in your expression and lean deeper into how you best show up in the world and best give your energy to others, rather than following a blueprint created by conditioning or programming or influences that aren't actually something that aligns with you in your truth. Each of the 5 energy types has a unique role, a unique strategy, and a unique signature for what to look for or what to expect when they're living in alignment, as well as when they're living not in alignment. This is universal across each of the 5. So, for example, projectors like me, our role is to be a guide, to see things clearly, direct energy, and bring about a better, more efficient way of being by guiding the energy, guiding the collective, etc. Strategy would be to wait for an invitation to things. And the signature sense of knowing that I'm in alignment would be success. So that's my example. If you're someone who's a generator, their role is a builder. Their strategy, waiting to respond. Their signature, that they're living in alignment, satisfaction, and so on and so forth with the other 3. So if you feel called to deep dive this, I highly, highly, highly encourage you to do so. It has more information as well, specific gifts in the form of different gates that are open, you can see which energy centers are defined, which ones are open, which ones are undefined. All of those speak to how easily that specific energy center has been influenced by external energies and external people and stories. This is a really good place to get some clues on what specific parts of yourself, your life, your beliefs have been most heavily influenced by other people and thus need to be deconditioned the most. Like, if you have a lot of energy centers that are open or undefined, they are more susceptible to being you absorbing the energies and stories of other people rather than living completely embodied for yourself. If you have a defined energy center, you are more confidently, like, completely fully embodied in your own truth without really being influenced by other people. For example, my throat center is defined, so I've never really cared to, influence my words based on what other people think of me, or, like, I have always been confident in sharing myself authentically without really questioning or caring about what other people think of me. Like, I said what I had to say, you know what I mean? But other energy centers that are open are more susceptible to that influence. So, and last but not least, we are going to go into your life path number. So your life path number is essentially the energetic theme for your life, and it's determined by adding up the individual digits of your birthday. For example, someone born on February 22nd, 2025, you would add up 2 plus 2 plus 2, so 6 plus 2 plus 2, 7, 8, 9, 10, plus 5, so that's 15. And then add the 1 and the 5 together, you get 6. Life path number 6. There are 9 single-digit life path numbers, 1 through 9, and then there are 3 levels of master life path numbers, which would be 11, 22, and 33. The single-digit life path numbers are a bit more straightforward. Some examples would be a life path number 1 is someone who embodies leadership, is seen as kind of a go-getter, kind of like Leo, Aries type of like independent energy, confidence, learning, leading the charge. A life path number 2 is someone who is more emotionally sensitive, leans into partnership, cooperation, bringing things into balance. Each of these numbers holds a unique energy, and you can look up every single life path number, all the individual, all the master numbers. They all have a specific theme to them, a specific energy, as I just said. Fun side fact, I swear to God, numerology is just like in my DNA, because numerology and astrology and this whole, it's all interconnected in different ways, but you know, it's kind of under the same umbrella. And I, for so long, I literally had us choose my like Yukon dorm room number based on whether or not it was a good number by adding up the numbers. Like I had a theory, it was my number theory, which essentially is just me leaning into numerology before knowing it existed. But 3, 4, 7, 8, and 11, all good numbers. 11, peak number, that's the best number. 8 is good because it's abundance and it's like infinity on its side. 7's good because it's 3 and 4. 4 is like stability. 3 is like the Holy Trinity. I had a whole freaking science to it. So I think it's really fitting that I've actually leaned deeper into this with the legitimate description of astrology, numerology, and sciences behind it. But anyways, I digress. The main 9 numbers each have their own energies, and then the master life path numbers, you get those if you add up the individual digits of your birthday, and before you add the last 2 digits, you have either an 11, a 22, or a 33, or you just add them up and get the 33 or the 22 or whatever it is. I'm pretty sure that's how you do it. Mine, I calculated out, like, I add up the digits of my birthday, I get 11, and then obviously the 1 plus 1 is 2. I thought it was just a life path 2 for forever, but actually I'm an 11, and they are essentially just an amplified version of the number that they add up to, but they also have like a higher purpose associated with their life and their calling and like their energetic theme. So while single digit life path numbers are more focused on kind of the individual learning experience, master life path numbers are also focused on their individual experience and learning, but they also have a branch of a higher calling to them and like a calling to serve a higher purpose. For me specifically, spiritually, and bridging the gap between the spiritual realm and the physical realm and bringing more balance into this world. Like, this is why I love this shit, because I've said to you guys in episodes before, I always felt like I had a bigger calling and a bigger purpose, and I feel like finding out that I was a life path 11 made so much sense for everything that I have felt for my entire life. And no, that's not hindsight bias. It is confirmation based on things that I already knew about myself that further goes to show, literally from the day and moment I was born, this shit was imprinted in my soul. And you're gonna tell me it doesn't mean anything? Bitch, please, get over yourself. I do not believe that at all. So you can look up articles about your life path number. As I said, you can have it calculated with an actual website. You can just, there's so many resources out there. Literally even freaking ChatGPT. There's so many resources out there that can give you more information on your specific placements in your natal chart, your specific human design energy type, your gifts, and your life path number. And there's also, guys, this is barely brushing the surface of how much information is out there when it comes to personalized spiritual information that can be used as a guide for creating and fostering a more fulfilling, abundant, aligned life for yourself as your most organic self. You want the blueprint for your most organic self? Look into these 3 things that I just talked about in this episode: your natal chart, your human design, your life path number. If it shocks you at first, maybe it's a good sign that you are about to go through some deconditioning. And honestly, at the same time, you need to take everything into context and apply it to your life as it's relevant. Don't obviously, guys, use your discernment. Don't ever take something from your chart and be like, oh my god, that's just how I am. That's just how it is. Like, I'm gonna be bad with money because my, like, Leo is in my second house. Like, you do not need to tie on or, like, grip onto these beliefs or the different meanings behind all the parts of your chart so deeply. As I said in the very beginning, it is just for the sake of you understanding yourself better so that you can live more aligned, more fulfilled, and happier, and work with the energies that you already have within you at play, rather than trying to live someone else's definition of life based on someone else's expectations or society's expectations when they don't actually align with how your soul designed you to come here to live the happiest, easiest, most fulfilling life. So I hope this episode has been eye-opening for you guys, and go look into some of your personal spiritual information. If you do, literally please DM me, because I would be so happy to deep dive like anyone's charts or your human design or your life path number. I love this stuff. I truly do. And if you're interested in learning more, literally reach out to me. DM me. My Instagram is Organic Reagan. Organic just spelled Organic like normal. And my name, Reagan, Reagan. Literally DM me. I'm not joking. Like, I don't even care if I don't know you. I will be so happy to look further into your spiritual astrological information, should you feel so called. With that, I will see you guys in the next episode. Go be your most organic selves, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. If you got something out of today's episode, I would so deeply appreciate if you left a rating and or a review of the show on either Apple or Spotify to help put this podcast in more people's ears. Follow along with me on my socials, which are tagged below, and I will see you in the next one.